Hello there, this is Cece Schatz, and you're listening to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. This is the boy and girl thing, and if those of you, if you don't know me, I am the doyenne of relationship building, and we are kicking off this show, and I have with me...
And I'm Derek Bernard, and I'm happy to be here with Cece tonight, and I hope you all are entertained and enjoy the show, and feel free to call in or text or chat, whatever way you can.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun last week. I'll give you our call-in number. It's right here. It's 727-238-8970. So if anyone wants to call in, say hi. We'd love to hear from you. Or you're welcome to do a comment down below. And if we can see it, we'll bring it forward. And that would be great. So we're going to kick off the show tonight with, let's see, what is our... This is what we're going to be talking about. 16 ways men and women date differently. And the war is on. Good thing we're friends.
It's going to be fun. Oh, yes.
Only on during this hour. So let's see. What do you think, Derek? Do you think men date differently than women?
Well, I would say yes, because men generally communicate differently from women to begin with. And what concerns men would be a little different from what concerns women. Women, I guess, probably look at more details in the main, and men look at an overall picture, I guess. You know, so it's different things. But it's all up to the individual, though, because the individual can make all the difference. I mean, they're just general parameters, they're norms, but then the individuals can always, bridge that gap or do something quite out of the norm.
Well, that's true. Well, one of the things when we were doing our research, it says women want men to take the lead. What do you think about that?
You know, that might be true. In today's world, it's a little more tricky. It used to be that society, the sociological structures back a few years ago had men in certain roles and women in certain roles. But I think now society has been breaking out of that kind of a mold. If you study the history of women in the United States, you'll see that women really started to work outside of the home after World War II. And in that generation going forward, women started to earn money, became more independent, etc. And today, although we are still kind of thriving for equality between men and women in terms of wages and all of that, I think that mold, the old mold, has been broken. So now I think women should also feel very free to take a lead role.
Well, I don't agree with you. I beg to differ. And the reason I say that is because I do think women want equality and we want all of those things, we do. But deep down, beneath it all, we want the man to really be into us. We want him to want us. We want him to kind of take the lead. But we only want him to take the lead as long as we're allowing him to do that. That's the difference.
Oh my gosh. But see, and that's the thing. So what you're saying is that women, if you can use an old terminology, or if I can use it in French, women still like to be pursued. And the men, you still want a woman still feels good when a man pursues her.
Absolutely. Right. I think it's the same way. Just as, and one of the tips here tonight, one of the 16, is that a man still likes the chase.
Well, yes, and sometimes the chase is more exciting than when you catch up, because sometimes all the excitement goes when the chase is over.
Yeah. Well, doggone it. But yeah, sometimes that's the same for the woman. I mean, the woman likes to kind of be, entice and feel special, and we like all of those kind of things. I mean, when we're flirting and when we're doing all of that kind of stuff. So we kind of want to open that door for the guy. So we want the guy to maybe we do lead a little bit, but we do want the guy to walk through that door very confidently, you know?
Right. Well, several years ago, right? I'll tell you, I had this girlfriend, and one day we were speaking, and I said, you know what? I said, long before I actually spoke with you, or we spoke with each other, I was kind of looking at you. I used to pass and see if I can see you, just to see your face, just to see how you looked at a particular evening or so. And she looked at me and she laughed. I said, what are you laughing at? She said, you think so? She said, I put myself in place for you to see me every day.
See what I mean?
So it's not like if, you know, so women have a different way, I think, of showing a man that, and sometimes it's subliminal. So she was passing, and I wasn't aware that she was passing so that I can see her, right? But she already had her methodology down. You know, so I think that women have a more subtle approach than men, but I still think in today's world, though, because to me there's a tremendous amount of uncertainty in terms of all the, I mean, of course, we have had terrible examples, right? We have Epstein and these guys this week. We have had R. Kelly on another extreme. And I really wanted and we have had the president with his own problems in terms of women. And I mean, he's a big figure there and everybody can see. And that has, to me, thrown some dampers into the whole dating scene and especially for younger men. You know, how are they to be confident that they're making the correct approach to a young woman?
Right.
You know,
degrading, right? The men are degrading the women by mistreating them and being foul and, you know, disrespectful. So we hope that our young men today won't do that to women.
Well, we hope a new generation is coming. But what I'm saying is that, to me, there needs to be a tremendous amount of education, because now, you know, I mean, are they sure that if they approach, because young men could be awkward, and they may make an awkward approach, right? And then somebody's going to cry wolf and say, you know, I feel uncomfortable. Well, I don't know if you will feel uncomfortable until I actually speak with you, right? So if you're feeling uncomfortable, say so. You know, so I think women need to be a little more communicative, and it can't be the women of yesteryear that were coy and, you know, kind of pull the man in by her gestures and her coyness and her elegance. Women now have to be more clear in their communication to men.
So we're supposed to go up and say, knock, knock, we're interested in you. And you need to now start chasing us.
Well, nothing is wrong with that, right? But at the same time, I don't really expect.
Hey, you are man, I am woman, let's go.
Right? What's wrong with that? But that will scare a lot of men, I tell you.
Yes.
Nothing is wrong with that, but I don't really expect it. But at the same time, what I'm saying though is that if a man makes an approach, right, and he's a little awkward, because a lot of men, look, men are afraid of rejection. Men are intimidated, right? Many men would see a beautiful woman and would be absolutely afraid to approach her.
Yeah.
You know, I have found many lonely, beautiful women because of that. You know, so it's like, so I'm saying in that respect, women needs to be more communicative. Not that women have to be the pursuers, but if an approach is made and it's a bit awkward or uncomfortable, then you can gently let the man know that without being insultive, or you don't have to take it and then later on you see him, but this man has offended me. Then you let him know up front. Listen, this is
something you said there just a moment ago, which I think it's important to talk about, even though it might take us off our thing a little bit. But it is true that a very good-looking woman, a beautiful woman, men are afraid to approach her. And even though she might be interested and she's giving off the signals or whatever, they don't. But then you'll get like the odd one out, like like you said, you've approached beautiful women because you're self-confident. You have the self-confidence to be able to step up and do that. So there's a lot of missed opportunities, I feel, that because men worry about getting rejected.
Yes.
The point is that's their own their own issues, because it doesn't necessarily mean that beautiful woman would. I mean, if would reject him. I mean, he's just assuming that she's going to.
Well, it's and without even assuming it, probably sometimes it's based on past experiences. Sometimes it's probably I don't have what it takes for her or whatever, right? And yes, it is with the man. That's his problem.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is not at all with the woman in that instance, but it's a reality though.
Yeah. So here's a lesson learned, really. So if you see someone that I guess you're interested and he's not really, you don't think he's really approaching you, I guess you could,
Could kind of
start a conversation with him and see where it goes.
Just reach out and say hello.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to be, hey, I like you, I'm interested in you, or whatever, or I'm attracted to you. No. Just reach out and say, hello, hey, I'm so-and-so, who are you? Mm-hmm. What's your name? And start a conversation. And the same goes for men, because a lot of men don't really know how to reach out to a woman, And I tell people it's a simple conversation. Find something to compliment her about, right? It might be a hair, it might be her eyes, it might be a tattoo, whatever. Just be the clothes.
Hey, I like your tattoo.
Like that. I saw a very beautiful young woman in the grocery. She was tall and elegant and beautiful. Mm-hmm. And she had on an armless, and she had this tattoo, a strange looking tattoo on her arm. I didn't approach her because I wanted to become a friend. I just like talking to her.
Let's find that out.
Right.
Let's get serious here.
How did I get her attention?
Yeah.
I was passing and I just looked and I said, wow, you have a very interesting tattoo on your arm. What does that represent, if anything? And then she went on to tell me it's really the design of a mother's ring. And she was thrilled that somebody actually asked her about it. And we had a little conversation. I moved on and she moved on. Mm-hmm. So I'm just saying, look, little openers like that can start a conversation going. Mm-hmm. Is what do you say after you say hello?
Right. That's very true. That you've got a good point with that. Absolutely. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about women overanalyzing things. Do you think women overanalyze?
Sometimes. I can't say all women, but women can be critical from my experience. Yeah.
You think honestly?
Women can be
here now about women being critical.
Yeah, and yes, you can say that might be overanalyzing. That might be sometimes reading too much or too little into a situation. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But again, it depends on the woman and how confident she is and how does she look at life. Does she genuinely like people? Is she a more close-off kind of person? Because one who like people, people who like people, let me just say one, but people who like people find it easier to really be open to other people.
Right.
So it depends a whole lot on the individual.
Right. And then too, if they're emotionally, they tend to be emotional people, that they tend to look at things and analyze things.
I don't like to say that.
Wait a minute, you don't like what? What don't you like?
I don't like to say that women are more emotional than men.
No, I'm just saying that if women are overanalyzing a lot of things, those type of women tend to be a little bit more emotional.
Well, yes, that is true. Yeah.
That's what I meant by it.
Okay. Okay.
So I do apologize. I know that you're a very emotional man. I don't want to.
No,
I don't want to say that you're not.
No, I'm not very emotional at all, but I mean, I'm in touch with my emotions. Very good to that. I'm in touch with my emotions, but I'm also in control of them. So
Yeah. No, but it is true. I mean, there are men that are emotional too about situations and whatnot. So yeah, so we shouldn't just assume women are like that. But yeah, I think the over analyzing too, sometimes that has to do with our past, maybe things that we haven't quite dealt with, those kind of things. So
of course, the little burdens we still carry around, the baggage, as we say, it shapes who we are if we don't know how to clear and leave it behind and just move on. It can shape who we are.
Yeah. Do you think women get stressed out over little stuff?
I think
what time of the month, maybe.
Well, listen,
depends on that. Depends on the kids. It depends on,
But I think women honestly have a lot more to worry about than men, right? The kids, the home. Men tend to have listen. I remember this. I was working in a certain establishment, and I had a female manager in my younger days. And this morning, there was a thinner spray called PMS. I don't know why the spray was called PMS, but that was just a brand. On a particular morning, I got to work, and she was particularly grouchy. And I just, oh my God, what's wrong with her today? She's normally such a nice person. So I just said, you know what? I wonder if it's that time of month, because some women can be a little more edgy and emotional and so on at that time of month. So I took the thinner spray. I said, you know what I'm going to do with you right now? I'm going to spray you with this thinner PMS. And boy, she just started laughing. She couldn't help herself. And sometimes if you find that people are going through a difficult situation, do something to make light of the moment.
Yeah. I agree with that. I found, we had a little bit of an echo there, but I have found in my past, if someone is particularly irritable or whatever, I'll just call them on it. I'll just say, sound like you're having a bad day or something, or having a bad morning. You want to talk about it or something. Then they catch themselves. They realize that they're being quite so grouchy. But I do think women tend to get stressed out. I think we do tend to stress out a little bit more than men. Men tend to be more of our anchor or rock. And so, we do tend to be like that.
We hope. I mean, women, yes, can be a little stressed out, I would say. Although I have seen men who are, I don't know. I think it's down to the individual, basically.
Okay, well, this next one you're going to like. Men like convenience. How about that? They're lazy. That's what it says. Men are renowned for their being lazy in certain elements of their lives. One of them is being always being the way they date. The convenience is for the guy. They like routine. What do you think about that?
I think that could be true. Men like routine. The women tend to be the more creative data, right? And that's why I tell men sometimes, just follow the woman's lead as far as dating is concerned, because she should be your priority in the first place. It shouldn't be yourself. So follow her lead in terms of dating, because women tend to be a little more creative. They find more places to go to. They find more exciting things to do and so on. Until the two people really get to know each other and settle into their routine, they may be, some guys, like outdoor life. And, and that could be exciting for some women. Some women don't. But women generally find more things to do.
So what you're saying is that women kind of spark you a little bit, get you out of the norm, kind of light your fire.
Light the fire, you know, motivate, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
I
I
think
like that.
I could agree with that one.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Now, we talked about this on the last show about men like a woman to make the first move. So we talked a little bit about that, about having, I guess, I think we were talking about it, we talked about last time, and I think what we were saying was that, we both sexes enjoy the idea that the other person is attracted to us,
Absolutely.
So when the woman makes the first move, the guy feels equally as complimented as the woman does when the guy kind of makes,
The first move, yeah.
the first
I mean,
move.
everybody likes a compliment.
Hmm.
The thing about women is that if the wrong guy makes the first move, men are a little more, look, even though you might be out and you may not be attracted to a woman, right?
Hmm.
And she makes an approach. Men are a little more accommodating than women are. If you're a group of guys and a woman kind of has her eyes on a particular guy, and that guy doesn't make the move, but some other guy in the group makes a move, she's not always that accommodating or complimentary. So women, in that respect, to me, guys are more accommodating than women.
Right. Well, something I will say is that, I don't know if you've ever done this or not, but there's a group of women, it could be 2 women or 3 women or whatever. And the guy comes up and he asks one girl to go dance or something like that. And she says no. And then he turns to the next one right next to her and asks her to dance. And what do you think she's going to say?
She's going to say no as well.
Absolutely.
She's now second choice.
Right. Right. So that is not something you want to do. So you need to really, really know in advance what you're going to do if you approach a woman in a group or in a setting. Now, that doesn't mean that you couldn't, and I've seen this happen before, where a guy will approach a woman, they'll dance and they'll have a good time, and then he might come to the table and he might be talking or whatever, and the next thing you know, he's kind of intrigued. He likes the other person that's at the table better, and so you'll start seeing that, that kind of him kind of gravitating towards her, she kind of gravitating. Next thing you know, the other girl he first asked to dance or whatever is kind of out of the picture because she kind of gets it, what's going on.
Well, what I used to do in my younger days is that I would observe the group. Every group has a dominant person in the group, right? And if the dominant woman or girl may not have been the one I'm attracted to, but I will always ask the dominant girl to dance first. And once she accepts me into the group, I hang around with them a little bit.
And you go on to the next one.
Then I go on to the next one, the one I'm really interested in.
But how come not approach the other girl first? You'd think she'd be shot down by her friends or something then.
Sometimes. If you observe group behavior with women, sometimes the one who knows that she is not the attractive one in the group, she acts as a kind of block. So you make friends with her first.
Right.
And if she accepts you and everything is cool, and you casual with her because you're not interested in her, you're not telling anything you don't want to tell her. Right? You're not leading her on or anything like that. But and then you might buy drinks for all of them or whatever. And then, you chat and you get familiar with the group. Then you move to the girl that you might be really interested in the group.
That's interesting. But, we girlfriends have a girlfriend code, And so we don't break that code. I mean, if we're a good girlfriend, we don't do that. So if we think that you came and talked to the other girl first, like for instance, if I was in the group and you liked me, but you came and you danced with my friend and you bought my friend a drink and you did all of that, There's not a chance on life, and in this life, I would be talking to you.
It works that way sometimes.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't break the girlfriend code. I mean,
Right.
I don't mess with another girl's man. That's just all there is to it.
Right.
So,
It works that way sometimes, but then you would buy drink just for the girl you dance with. You'll buy drinks for all
of the girls. There you go. I guess there's a way around it. Yeah, you get a slicker tap, whatever.
And even when you're dancing, you're not going to tell anything to make her feel, well, look. In fact, you might even ask her about her friend.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, too, is that sometimes I've noticed in a group, if the guy plays his cards right and he treats all of the girls really nice, if he dances with all of the girls, then it starts becoming confusing as to who he really is attracted to.
Really attracted to, and that's what you do. Because you don't want, look, the worst thing is for that somebody in that group to reject you. Right?
Right.
So that's why I always look for the one who looks like the dominant one in the group. Because if the dominant one accepts you, the others will tend to.
That's a tip for the guys today. I think that's a very important for the guys because of the group thing, and they're a little bit intimidated about going and approaching one of the girls if they're in a group. Men don't like over eagerness. So if a woman is a little bit
too forward, as we would say.
Yeah, maybe. You guys really don't like that. So is that true or false? Up or down?
That's a hard one. Because some women, you really want them to be forward.
And you're hoping for it, and it doesn't happen.
For it, right? And then there's some women, they really say, oh my God, darling, step back a little bit,
Yeah. I think they're kind of referring to not sexual. They're referring to like a date.
A date.
And your mind's going, to the other place. So
right. Yeah. Even in a social, in a social setting, you mean, not in a dating situation.
Yeah,
but, I don't like people generally, who are too forward or too aggressive or too, it's all about me.
Right.
Yeah. I think that people should have a certain amount of decorum and elegance in the way they behave socially. So if somebody is too much about me, that's a definite turn off.
Well, I think eagerness too, with regards to maybe, going out and getting, like women, they say women want to know they're going to get the second date right away. They want to know that. So maybe we're more eager with wanting to know that. But my philosophy is I think the guy, the first date, if he likes you, he's going to ask you for the second date.
Oh, yes, he would.
Yeah. There's going to be no hesitation whatsoever. He's immediately going to ask you for that second date right there on the spot.
Yeah,
and if he doesn't, he's not that into you.
Yeah, by the end of the date, he's asking, when are we going out again? Kind of, well, let's plan the next outing.
Yeah. When can I see you again? When can we
see you again? Kind of thing. And if a guy doesn't show that kind of enthusiasm, or then let's realize that it didn't work.
Right. And the other thing too, I think from a woman's standpoint, if he doesn't do it, he's 9 times out of 10, he's not that into you.
Yeah.
But that doesn't necessarily mean he can't be.
No, it doesn't necessarily mean he can't be, but
there might be something else out there going on in his world,
right.
that when he's trying to slow down. But honestly, if you're really looking for a relationship and you've been on that first date and he hasn't asked you for the second one, the likelihood that it's not.
Yeah, it didn't spark.
Yeah.
And the same thing for the guys. If you ask for that second meeting or that second date or that expectation of when are we going to go out again, and she's hedging and saying, well, I don't know, call me or whatever. Know that she's not really interested.
Yeah. Yeah, I think too, it's a way you respond. So like if maybe you don't know when you can go out on the next date, but if he asks you on the next date, you said, yeah, definitely, I'd love to go out or something like that.
Right.
That's giving him all the right signals. Now, if he says, okay, can I go out tomorrow night? Then maybe you just can't do it or you don't know yet. So you could just say, I'm not quite sure. I'll have to get back to you. But yeah, I'd love to go out again. There's a difference between.
There's a difference, yes.
Yeah, definitely. There's a difference. I totally agree with that. Men need the message, men need the message loud and clear. So women need to be a little bit more spot on, I guess, with what we're saying. Is that what it is?
Yes. Women need to be a little more definite about the communications, what they really are saying. Women tend not to always speak in definites. and if you listen to women speak, generally speaking, even when they're speaking to a child, I'm getting a little bit of an echo there. But
sorry about that.
That's all right. But women tend to go up at the end of their sentences. And every time you make that upward inflection, you actually asking a question. The message that gets to the receiver's brain is that you're asking a question and you're not making a statement. And
That's interesting.
Yeah. And
so our voice is raised like an octave up.
Up at the end of the sentence.
Do I do that? I did it right then.
You just when you ask the question, right? But if you want to make a statement, you want to communicate an idea, then take that octave at the end of the sentence down. It's a totally different communication to the brain. And even when when women speak to children, and that octave up, that child, the signal that goes to that child's brain is, hey, mommy isn't telling me what to do. She's asking me if I want to. And so it's just a little, a little tip.
You want us to be more demanding.
Yeah.
Bring that octave down and tell you what to do.
What to do. Or make that statement. And now it's communicated as a definite statement, another question.
Right. That's very interesting. I didn't notice. I really didn't notice that we bring the octave up. I do know that a lot of women, their tone of voice will change.
Yeah.
I'll listen when partners are talking to each other, and I used to have a friend that almost would like a baby talk.
Yes.
And that amazes me. It's like, what? Didn't talk to me like that. What happened to her?
Yeah, some women, when they speak to someone they're interested in, so their voice, they go into that baby tone. Almost a falsetto, and it sounds different.
Almost the whole sentence, you said?
Huh?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
I said that the tone is almost a falsetto tone. It's like it's up there somewhere, like a little baby, as you say. And it's all cuddly and all sweet until she gets angry.
Watch out.
Watch out.
Do men like that? Do you like our voices to be an octave up?
I don't. Honestly, I don't. I prefer the normal voice. Then I can know where you're coming from. Then I can understand your emotions. But when you go up in this little voice, I really, doesn't work for me.
Sure. Because I tease. I'm a little bit of a teaser. I know that I talk, I tease, and that's just part of my personality. So I tend to be a little bit like that. But I think that for me, I think I am pretty direct and pretty to the point. I mean, I try very hard to be, even though, the guy I was dating, he said it's hard to communicate. He has trouble communicating, but I'm not sure if it's me.
Well, that's the thing now, and the thing is that, look, different circumstances will demand different things, right? I mean, there are 4 basic personalities I like to to say in terms of humans, people.
Mm-hmm.
There's a dolphin, and they all compare to animals, right? There's a dolphin who is playful and always likes to play around. There's a shark who is very direct and more money focused and so on and that kind of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's an urchin that is kind of introverted, not very open, not very communicative. And there's a whale who is always very helpful. So those are the 4 basic personality types that one analysis alludes to. And of course, we are all mixtures of either one or more, either 2 or more of those, but one would be kind of dominant.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
so the shark would be the most dominant.
Well, the shark would try to be dominant,
mm-hmm.
You know, but then the dolphin might just play with the shark.
Warm him up a little bit.
Right. You know, so I know, and that was something that we learned in the sales process, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But so normally when I meet a dolphin personality, I can become a dolphin.
Mm-hmm.
And try and fit into that personality and play around a little bit. You know, or if I meet a shark, then I could become a bigger shark.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so one has to be aware of the different personality types and how to react to each one in order to establish communications. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that to me is the most difficult with people is that whole communications factor. Mm-hmm. People really don't communicate very well.
Yeah, you're very, very right with that. And we just had a wonderful guest on my show, Going Solo with Cece, and Kim Von Berg was on, and she talked a lot about communications.
Communications.
And it's very, very true. I think that we do, and even myself, even being in talking shows and things like that, it's you know, the communication is very difficult. It is. Mm-hmm.
But until you understand that people communicate basically in 3 ways, right? And learn in 3 ways. The auditory, right? You know, so a lot of people learn by listening, and they, you know, the aesthetic, a lot of people like to touch. You know, and then other people communicate by what they see. They're very, very visual. So usually when someone's speaking, right, you'll hear them say, I hear you. You kind of know, put it in the back of your mind, this is a kind of auditory person, right? And you try to communicate with them on that level. Or you hear them say, well, I see you. And you know that's visual. Mm-hmm. And when you hear that person say, I feel you, you know that's a kind of touchy-feely person. And if we understand communications a little bit and we bear some of those factors in mind, like the different personality types, and they're simplified into 4 animals, so we remember easily, or we remember that it's auditory, visual, and aesthetic in terms of learning and communications, then we can be more effective in communicating with the people around us, especially those who are close to us.
Yeah, you're so right. I mean, I think we can take that into the dating world. And if we're more observant when we're talking with someone, we can kind of catch on those kind of things and try to be able to relate. And I know too, like what you were saying about the sales, you know, and being in sales, and I used to be in sales years ago, and it was true that you would have to kind of mirror your behavior or your volume of your voice, or you know, you have to mirror that according to whoever you're talking with. Yeah.
And you know, and that is, there's a word for that, and I can't recall it at the moment, but it's basically taking on the behavior of the other person, which facilitates greater communication. And I tell people all the time that selling and dating, there's a lot in common, right? Approaching someone in a sales situation and approaching someone that you would like to date. It's not much different. You just modify the behavior because you want a different set of outcomes, right? So, but it's basically the same process because because you remember that even when you meet someone, you're actually selling yourself.
Sure. And you got to remember, at the end of the day, you've got to be you. You can't all be turned on, you know. But I do agree with you with regards to understanding communication or techniques of communication, so that it makes it a little bit easier for us to be able to communicate with people. I totally get that. You know, we should really have a show and talk about the 5 languages of love.
Hi.
Have you read that book? The 5 languages of love?
I have not read
it. So you'll learn something there, because that will be a good show for sure, indeed. Well, let's see if there's any other tips here that we need. We talked about men loves the chase. Oh, men like to keep their options open. What do you think about that one?
Totally agree.
Yeah. Do you think they like to keep their options open?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think women are starting to do that a little bit more now too.
Yeah.
I think in dating. I think women are starting to really evaluate a relationship as they're moving forward into it and kind of keeping their option open. I totally do not think that we should be off the market until there's definitely some sort of commitment going on.
We shouldn't be off the market until we're off the market.
Yeah, but I mean, I think if you've decided you're going to be exclusive, that's the beginning stages of the commitment. So, and I also feel it's up to the man to say that, not the woman.
Well, I mean, I could agree with that because, you know, it could be a little off-putting if the man refuses for the woman. Again, we go back to tradition with the pursuer and the pursuee.
Right.
You know, it was always the man trying to win the woman's heart. And then, you know, and that has come up from time immemorial, at least in Western society. And that's the way it has been. So, yeah, I think that men, generally speaking, should be the ones indicating that.
But, you know, I think now in today's world, I think it's more than just winning their heart. I think he has to step forward and, you know, also earn her trust, maybe.
Well, yes. And I believe all of that is incorporated into winning the heart, is winning the trust, winning their confidence, you know, giving women, you know, giving the assurance that, hey, there could be happiness in this situation. You know, it goes with a whole lot of stuff. And to me, people sometimes put the cart before the horse because we tend to feel attracted to each other. We jump in the bed quickly, and then that muddies everything up after that.
Right. It truly does. I totally get that. And I also think, too, that we, you know, we can love someone, but they may not be the right person for us, you know? Absolutely. And I think that you know, like when you were saying, you know, as you're stepping forward, you're doing that dance that we do in dating. I think that it's not just about building, you know, one's heart, you know, together, but also about building the trust and the, you know, being there for each other. And there's so many different elements that's important in building a you know, continued relationship. Those are those steps that you're taking each time you do it. And so you could fall in love with someone, but if they don't do those things, you know, if they're a workaholic or they don't put you first, or they do things that are not trustworthy, or they threaten and you know, that they're going to leave you if you don't do this or that, you know, if there's those kind of things, those things are hard to overcome, even if you love the person, you know, because you loved who they were at the beginning, not who they are today.
And that's why I tell people, you know, if you're serious about someone, really, really serious, give it time. You know, give it some time, really see who this person is. In the first place, have in your mind who you want to be with, the kind of person. What traits do you want in that person? You would never find the perfect person, right? But just going along on an emotional train, and then to discover that this person, is not who I really want. Some people are abusive, and that only comes out a little later on, like what you just said there. That hostage. There could be no hostage taken in love, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I agree.
Love cannot be conditional. It has to be open, sincere, and it has to be something happy. If you are in love with someone and you are not happy with that person, then it's time to move on.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I also think that things come up, and you can keep working on the relationship. If you do have feelings for each other, maybe you can work things out. So there are coaches for that and such. So maybe we can hold relationships together. So, but I tell you what, our time is gone. It's gone very quickly. It's gone, and we're gonna have to end the show. But I love it so much. And I enjoy your company, and you're great fun. You're great fun to have on the show, and so I appreciate it.
I enjoy being with you, Sissy. I enjoy the show, and it's a lot of fun to me.
It is a lot of fun, and I hope people are learning, different techniques and different things with regards to dating as we keep moving forward on this boy and girl thing. But it's really about understanding our differences, and I like that, because tonight we talked about different things, but the more we talked about it, the more we realized that we're not so different from each other.
Not so different. Not so different.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so we'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Okay.
Okay.
And this is Derek Bernard, and you're listening to the Boy and Girl Thing, and this is WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. We'll see you next week. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay.